Very good evening, students. Myself, Dinesh, Assistant Professor, Manimala Institute of Technology, Chennai. Uh, the main motive of my this video session is many students in electrical branch, electronics and communication branch, instrumentation and control branch, electronics and instrumentation branch, second semester students having the paper of circuit theory. The subject code is WE6201. Some students get struggled in this paper. So it is one of the fundamental paper for your engineering curriculum, and it's only the basic concepts involved in it. If you are familiar with this paper, you can easily understand the forthcoming semester papers. It is quite interesting also. If you are familiar with some of the mathematical tools and some mathematical tools regarding this paper, you may easily clear this paper. I am explaining about the unit-wise sessions. Unit-wise, what are the things we are going to study for your arrear examinations. First unit, basic circuit analysis. So in the basic circuit analysis, the basic concepts we have, the fundamental laws, that is Kirchhoff's laws, Ohm's law, what do you mean by DC circuit, what do you mean by AC circuit. There are so many basic fundamental things are available in the first unit. It is in the part A sessions, you may probably get definitions. The state Ohm's law, state Kirchhoff's law, or define Ohm's law, define Kirchhoff's law, like that you may get. The 16-mark question is probably from your two techniques are available. One question from your mesh analysis. It is famous technique for determination of your unknown currents in the circuit. It is one of the important technique for your first unit. And either option is the node analysis method. So in the node analysis method, you may determine the unknown voltages. You just remember, in the mesh analysis, you may find out unknown currents. In the node analysis, you may find out the unknown voltages. So the calculation of unknown voltages and current you may determine using these two techniques. It is quite easier with the help of your basic Cramer's rule, whatever you utilized in the matrix calculations, you may utilize the Cramer's rule. The same Cramer's rule we are utilizing in the mesh analysis technique as well as node analysis technique. It is quite interesting. If you are operating well the FX991 calculator, it is quite easier to solve. So no need to worry about your first unit. It's just a mathematical technique. You just remember what is meant by voltage, current, and what do you mean by power. The basic definition. From the basic definitions only the question will arrive. So don't worry about the first unit. So if you are practicing these sessions, that is one part from your mesh analysis and second part from your nodal analysis and the basic definitions. If you are familiar with these topics, surely you will get 16 marks. So in the unit number 2 is network reduction and network theorems for AC as well as DC circuits. So in the network reduction and network theorems, in the network reduction we have three techniques. One is the division techniques, voltage and current division, and star to delta transformation and delta to star transformation, and one more thing is your transformation techniques. The transformation technique, in the sense we may easily change our voltage into current or current into voltage. It is quite interesting. And for the point of view of network theorems, we have 5 theorems. So first one is Thevenin's theorem, second one is Norton's theorem, third one is reciprocity theorem, and fourth one is superposition theorem, and fifth one is the maximum power transfer theorem. So these are all the 5 theorems available. In the 5 theorems, out of 5 you may surely get 2. So if you are well prepared in your 5 theorems, you surely get 2 theorems. Either it may be in the derivation format or in the problematic format, you surely get at least 2 theorems. In some cases, a reduction technique from 8 mark and theorems from 8 mark. So in the subdivisions also they may ask. So the 5 definitions. So whatever I said earlier. So that is network theorems, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem, superposition theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, and reciprocity theorem. reciprocity theorem. These are all the 5 theorems. Out of these 5 theorems, you may surely get 2 marks. That is define Thevenin's theorem, or explain Norton's theorems, explain maximum power transfer theorem, explain superposition theorem. In this manner, the 2 mark question will arrive. And 16 markers, you have to find out the unknown value of voltages, currents, or currents, whatever it may be, you have to find out. Third unit is resonance and coupled circuits. So the resonance circuit is the basic relation for your resonant frequency. There it may be your series circuit and parallel circuit, and what is the quality factor involved in your series circuit and bandwidth involved in your resonant circuit for the case of series as well as parallel. And for the coupled circuits, you may get your tuned circuits. Tuned circuit will be a short question for your next examination. Either you may get your coupled circuit problems or tuned circuit derivation. And fourth unit point of view, transient response analysis or transient analysis for AC and DC circuits. Here we have 3 types of excitation circuits we have, that is RL, RC, RLC. So the loads are should be RL, that is resistance, inductance, resistance, capacitance, and resistance, inductance, and capacitance. So out of these 3 derivations, you may surely get 2 derivations, either in the form of AC or in the form of AC. Here it is in the form of derivation or the problem. Surely you will get questions. And the famous question, 2 mark question, is what do you mean by your transient state or coefficient of coupling, and then what is time constant, tau. Probably the question asked in the university 2 mark question. First unit is 3-phase power. So in the 3-phase power, the balanced and unbalanced voltage configuration for your both star network as well as delta network, you have to analyze, you have to find out for the case of star means voltage, current, power, and phasor representations. In case of delta means the voltage, current, and phase power, and with your phasor representation. And probably you are going to learn about 3-phase power. So if you are learning these topics, you surely will get passed in the circuit paper. So I'll explain the paper in my forthcoming sessions. That's quite interesting and quite useful for your university examinations. Thank you. I'll meet on the next section.